Hey, it's Captain Matt, Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, and today we're going to talk about hidden dangers on used boats. So when you're buying a used boat, we know that you don't want to buy somebody else's headache, right? It's why you probably found my channel and watching the videos, but what are some of the hidden dangers to look out for? Well, number one is unseen hull damage. So for boats, it's really easy for a boat to get run aground. And that can cause some serious damage, and damage that's really, really hard to fix. If you get run up on a jetty, or if you hit some rocks or a stump on the bottom of the lake, and you damage your hull in some way, there are some people that will try to fix it, but just don't do a great job. I had a friend of mine that bought a boat that was that exact situation. He spent $2,000 to fix it the first time, $5,000 to fix it the second time, because the original seller didn't fix it quite right. The second guy that my buddy hired to fix it, he didn't do a great job, so it happened again the next season, and now he invested $5,000 to have it fixed again, and hoping that it solves that problem. It was damaged right at the keel, which is typically where it is. So look for that damage. Use your screwdriver to tap the hull. Look for any discoloration that is an indication of some gel coat work on a fiberglass boat before you move forward. Next is a bent prop shaft. This is a hidden danger because sometimes you don't even really notice it, unless you specifically spin that propeller around and look really closely at that prop shaft. Sometimes I even put a screwdriver on it so when I spin it around so I can easily detect a smaller wobble. But that vibration, it may be noticeable when you drive it on your sea trial and you'll catch it then, but that's going to transfer that vibration all the way up into the gear case and into the rest of the motor, and it can cause some serious damage over time, and something that you really, really want to avoid. Next is rust on the manifolds and the risers can cause damage and the boat to start overheating. And on the exterior, it looks just fine, but on the inside where the water jackets are, that water goes to cool the engine and the exhaust, well, if that starts getting holes in it, guess what? Now you got water that can get down to the engine. It can cause some very, very serious damage, very expensive damage. And to fix those risers and manifold, that's not cheap itself. So you want to find those areas before you buy the boat. Now this one's a serious one. It's faulty wiring or engine components that are used on the boat. Specifically, the starter is the biggest one that comes to mind. But even some wires that's got some chafing on it that have bad connectors. When you go to start that engine, and if there's any fumes anywhere around, it can cause a serious explosion, a deadly explosion. It's no joke. And the starter, the reason they have marine starters is because they're totally enclosed so that that spark, when you crank the engine, there's no exposed spark to get to any fumes. It's also why it's imperative to every single time, without exception, is run that blower for 5 to 7 minutes, but 3 to 5 minutes. I usually just turn it on as soon as I get on the boat, but run it every time before you start up your inboard, your stern drive, or your jet drive, okay? The next is a leak in the fuel cell. Listen, on boats that are 15, 20 years old that have the aluminum tanks, especially used in saltwater, well, it's real easy for those to start getting pinholes in from rust and corrosion. Guess what? When you got a pinhole in your fuel tank, there's fuel vapor and there's fuel that's actually getting out. It can be very dangerous, and in some boats, it can be really hard to get to that fuel cell. You might have to actually cut the floor out. Not all of them have an easy access like this Sea Ray does. So you want to check that, maybe even get a bore scope in there, pressure test the fuel tank to see what you're dealing with. It can be expensive, and it can be really dangerous if you don't find those. Next, this may not seem like a danger, but incorrect paperwork, where the name on the titles don't match up with the name on the bill of sale and the driver's license, where a serial number doesn't match up from the trailer to the actual trailer or the paperwork on the trailer. It's dangerous because it's nearly impossible to get fixed without the seller's help, and it can be a nightmare working through the DMV or the DNR or the wildlife, whoever handles that in your state. Can be very, very challenging. And so now you've got this boat that you're excited to get out on, but you can't get it registered. You can't get your decals. You can't get your sticker. You can't get your title. Maybe you can't even get your lending, your financing all straightened out because of those errors. It's a major issue that you want to watch out for. Ignoring the trailer condition. Now, this is dangerous because if the trailer is all rusty and that axle's rusted out, your hubs aren't greased up at all, and you can get those to overheat. Your tires are bald and out of date, and they've got very little tread, and you have a blowout on the way home, or I've even seen it where the axle just breaks in half on the way home because this trailer's been sitting in the side of the storage lot for 2 years. You come and you're going to pull it 200 miles home, and you forget that you've got to inspect that trailer. And now you're stuck on the side of the road with your brand new boat. You had a blowout on the interstate, which can be very dangerous. So you don't forget the trailer. It's in the toolkit. We talk about inspecting the trailer and what to look at. Low compression and water in the gear case. Those mechanical things, there can be hidden dangers because you can buy a boat that can have major maintenance costs, repair costs, so that boat can be in great condition for you to go out and enjoy it. So make sure you do those inspections, checking compression, doing the sea trial, cracking the gear case, checking the oil, checking the hydraulic fluid and the steering fluid if it has it. Check all of those things because those issues can cause some serious problems when you go out to enjoy that boat the first time, and can be a major problem. So if you've got others to add to the conversation, put it down below in the comments to share with everybody, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you found it valuable.